Hi YouTube, and welcome back to my random thoughts on Thursdays. And this week I'm going to have a little bit of a rant about crowdsourcing. Okay, so for those of you who don't know what crowdsourcing is, if you've ever heard of Kickstarter campaigns or Indiegogo or something like that, there's sites out there where if you have a project, usually a creative project of some kind, that you want to get funding for so that you can complete that project, you can go to a site like that, start the campaign, and have pretty much anyone from any walk of life donate money to you. Anything from $1 to $100,000, whatever you can think of, and people can just come up and donate that money to you and to your project. For example, I know there was, I don't know the name of it off the top of my head, but some game developer, some independent game developer wanted to develop a game, and I think he wanted, I don't know if it was $100,000 or $500,000 or something like that, and he ended up getting like $2 or $3 million worth of donations because people wanted the game that badly, and it allowed him, with that money, to actually develop an even better game than he was originally planning to. So I actually see these kind of crowdsourcing ventures as a really good thing. People are, willingly parting with their own money, their choice, to help fund different creative projects. And my rant today isn't against that, because I actually think crowdsourcing is a really great idea. It allows people who want to be self-employed, entrepreneurs, independent artists, etc., to fund more professional projects without going to venture capitalists or studios, etc. They can kind of go around the kind of standard old Hollywood system for musicians and for people who want to do independent films, that kind of thing, and just kind of fund things on their own. And where my rant comes in is, I participate in a number of different forums, and I see people ranting on these forums against these crowdsourcing things, especially from people like other YouTubers who say, hey, I want to start my my own production company. I want to produce my own film. I want to produce my own professional sounding music album. And they go out to a crowdsourcing site like Indiegogo or Kickstarter, and they ask their fans to help contribute to help them achieve their goal in terms of whatever the project is. And there's people out there who say, well, these people make more money than I do. Who do they think they are asking other people for money? Why don't they just save it up themselves? And I don't know if folks like that realize that, one, these, it takes a lot of money to produce an independent film. All the equipment, the people that you want to get involved. People aren't going to donate their time for these projects most of the time. They want to get paid. The equipment costs money to buy or rent. Same thing for a music album. Same thing for just about any kind of creative endeavor. Developing software. One person alone can't necessarily do it. They need to hire other people. Like, there's one person who can develop like the core part of the software, but there's someone else who needs to develop the kind of the wrapper or the GUI, the graphical interface around it. Someone else who can develop the website, etc., etc. You need different people with different expertise for various projects. And this all costs money. It costs more money than some people realize. Like, sure, an independent artist, an independent musician, for example, yeah, they can set up a studio in their house and buy a mic and, buy speakers, etc., and buy software on their and a computer and do their own editing and things. And some of these folks have been doing that for years. And people are buying their albums, and it's fine. But maybe at some point they were like, I'd like to take this to the next level. I don't want to sign with a label, or let's say they can't find a label who's interested in signing them, but they still want to do a professional level studio album. And you know, it costs, I don't know, $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 to do something like that. You know, maybe they want to, you know, include some music videos, etc. And, you know, all of that requires people. You need sound engineers and lighting people, and, you know, perhaps they want a professional person who helps them edit the videos and helps them produce the songs, etc. It's not an easy endeavor to do that as a single person. The only person I know of who's ever had a commercial success with an album that he did, I think 99% on his own, was Daniel Bedingfield. But how many people even remember him? He had a couple of #1 hits, I think, off of the album that he did. You know, go Google him up if you can. But he just kind of fell off the face of the earth after that. Admittedly, he had a car accident and things, and he just kind of never came back from that, unfortunately. His sister did have some studio success, but even she hasn't. I think it was Natasha Bedingfield, but I think she actually was doing it with a label, a studio, etc. Where Daniel, his album was, I think, mostly done by himself, which was, you know, an incredible feat at the time. But a lot of people, I mean, yeah, they're doing things on their own, and they're doing things on YouTube, etc. But a lot of times they're begging for their friends' help. Like, hey, come out with me for an afternoon and I'll buy you a beer and a pizza and help me film this video. And they're not actually paying these people. And it, you know, and they feel like at this point that they're mooching a little bit too much off of their friends' generosity. And hey, you know, why don't I go ahead and get some funding so that I can actually pay the people that I want to pay to, you know, film my videos and help me engineer my my music, etc., or, you know, film my movies. Geez, I want to actually pay the people who are actually going to act with me in my independent film, etc. And, you know, just because they earn, you know, a decent living off of what they're doing currently on YouTube doesn't mean that they're earning so much that they can actually fund a project like that. I mean, they still have living expenses. A lot of them live out in Los Angeles, which is not a cheap place to live by any means. And, you know, being self-employed, taxes, I mean, I think a lot of folks, you know, you go onto a site like Social Blade and you say, oh, well, look at this person's making $200,000 a year off of YouTube. Okay, fine. Have you considered how much taxes that they're paying? They could be paying anywhere from 40 to 60% of their income to income tax. If you consider the self-employment tax, the state tax in California is really high. Gas costs are really high, and everyone has to drive there because there's no place you can just walk to. The extra amount of expense it costs just to live in Los Angeles. And if you don't live there, you don't have the connections, you don't have the networking, you don't have the resources to do the things you want to do if you're in that kind of industry. So people tend to forget that there's a lot of other things. I mean, you know, you might be living in an area where it costs a lot less to live for the income that you're making. And it really bothers me that these people are just putting down all of these different creative artists who are just asking for a little bit of help to actually do something more on a more professional level. And I think it's unfair. I think, you know, that these people, if people want to support these folks, let them support them. You know, if you don't think that the project that they're asking money for is worth your money, then don't support them. You know, simple as that. No need to go around ranting and raving about it and saying that they're greedy or they're taking advantage of people, etc. You know, I think you're underestimating people's intelligence to a certain degree. I mean, yes, there's a lot of stupid people in the world, but at the same time, I think there's a lot of people who, they know what they're doing. You know, it's their money, it's their choice, it's their decision. And if we want to support someone in a crowdsourcing effort to get a professional looking movie or music album or whatever project off the ground, you know what, it's our choice. And I don't think people should be going around telling folks like me, for example, that we shouldn't be supporting folks like that, because I don't feel like I'm being exploited, to be perfectly honest. I think it's great, and I have supported several different projects on Kickstarter and Indiegogo so far, and I am very proud of being able to help support independent artists because I myself am self-employed. The nature of my work doesn't require me to ask for funding, but I am more than happy to help other independent folks out there remain independent and not have to go kowtowing to a studio or a corporation or whatever. I support independence, and I think it's a wonderful thing. And, you know, stop putting folks like us down, because I don't appreciate it. Alright, so end of that rant. Thanks for joining me this week. I may or may not put something out next week. I might not, because I'm going to be at eMetrics next week, and I'll be in Chicago pretty much all next week. So I very likely may not come up with a video to film and edit and come out with before then. So I do apologize, but I will perhaps give a recap of my experiences in Chicago while I'm there the week after next. But thank you so much for joining me. I do appreciate everyone who supports me. And until next time, take care. Bye-bye.